Hi everyone, I'm Girish Agarwal and this is my YouTube channel. I recently interviewed Mr. Relampagos, a motivational speaker, executive producer and mental health and recovery advocate from Los Angeles. In this video, you will understand how does a human mind functions, what you can do to help a suicidal person. Sharing this video may save someone's life, and if so, I will consider my interview's purpose successful. So please share this video, you never know, it might change someone's perspective. If you like my video, please hit the like and the subscribe button. You can also follow me on Instagram. Thank you.
Hey Girish, how are you?
I'm great, buddy. What about you?
Good to see you again. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So,
What time
let's
is it
start
over
with.
there in Mumbai?
Sorry?
What time is it over there in India?
It's 8 p.m.
Oh, so much better. It's 7:30 a.m. here.
Yeah, it's a morning for you.
Yeah, but you know what? I will wake up early for you, Girish. Anything for you, my friend.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Thank you for waking up early for me. So,
Of course.
we are going to discuss on the topic of depression. As you are a motivational speaker, there will be a lot to learn from you. So, let's not waste for the time and let's get our interview started.
Let's do it.
So, my first question to you is, how does a human mind functions?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, the human mind is very complicated, but the most simplistic way I can explain it in terms of mental health is this. So we have 100% brain power, right? 90% of our brain power goes to our subconscious mind. 10% of our brain power goes to our conscious mind. So the subconscious mind, which is 90%, is our emotional beliefs, the things that we've learned about since we were a kid, since you were 6 years old, since I was 4 years old, all of these
Okay.
things that we register, right? And these are bad experiences we've had in the past, good experiences we've had in the past, and they basically stay in our mind, and we perceive the world through that. 10% of our conscious mind is basically the truth. So consciously, I know that I'm talking to my friend Girish. You know that you're talking to your friend Joel. So consciously, that's the truth, right? So our negative beliefs, a lot of them come from the subconscious mind, which is, let's say that when I was 7 years old, I felt like I feel unworthy of being loved. I can still have that years and years later as an adult if I don't heal that pain. So all of the relationships that I'm going to have as an adult is actually coming from that space of the subconscious, where I'm reacting to that because of my fears and uncertainties, you know. But consciously, I know that I'm in a relationship. Subconsciously, I could be reacting to it in ways that I'm not even aware about. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it definitely makes sense a lot. Yeah. So, my second question to you is feeling low and feeling depressed are the same?
Yeah, so feeling or being depressed is a form of feeling low. So I can feel low if, you know, I hurt my finger right now, right? I'm like, oh, I'm really sad that I hurt my finger. But if you're depressed, that's a severe way of feeling really, really low, because that becomes chronic. Depression is something that people can deal with on a daily basis. It can last days, it can last weeks, it can even last for years if you don't actually treat it. So imagine feeling low for years and years and years, and that's why depression is such a major factor. And, you know, millions and millions of people struggle with depression because they feel like they believe that their life is always going to be sad, which is not the case. That's actually a lie.
Okay. Okay, that was a good answer, yeah. So, my third question to you is, people are not aware of what bipolar disorder is exactly. Could you just explain it in brief?
Absolutely. So bipolar disorder is when you have two extremes. One is you have manic highs, where you're always energetic. You know, want to keep doing things. You want to stay really busy. And then the other part of bipolar depression is depressive lows, where you feel depressed, you're tired, you just want to sleep, you want to isolate, you don't want to talk to anybody. So you're bouncing from manic highs to depressive lows. Once again, this can be days, sometimes weeks, where you're up here, and then all of a sudden, you get really, really sad, and you just stay in bed and you don't want to do anything. So bipolar disorder is, you know, something that, geez, I want to say 3 million people have here in the US. I can't even imagine, or I don't know how many people have it worldwide, but millions of people do have bipolar disorder, and it's one of the more severe cases when it comes to struggles with mental health. And that's something that, you know, somebody should seek professional help for. Because when it comes to bipolar disorder, there is no, you know, cure per se, which is not a bad thing, because you learn how to manage it. For example, I don't say that I've been cured from depression or anxiety, right? Because I can still feel depressed or anxiety in the future, but I know how to manage it. So when it comes to bipolar disorder, it's important to know how to manage it, because whether you're here or here, you want to be here, you know? So there's a balance, right? Because
balance,
you don't always want to be manic high, manic high, manic high, and then all of a sudden, you know, think of a car, you're going to run out of gas, and then you're going to be back here. So the important thing is just to always have gas in the car, right? And then not running out of gas, or not running out of gas, or going really fast. You just want to be moderate. And that's what I tell people when it comes to depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, is get professional help. But the best part is that you can learn how to overcome it. While there is no cure, you can learn how to manage it on a daily basis.
Okay, can you just explain me that what is cognitive distortion?
Yeah, a cognitive distortion is something that's perfectly normal, but people think that it's so bad. But cognitive distortion is basically when you have an irrational perspective on your life. And irrational meaning, you know, cognitive distortions can go from catastrophizing, catastrophizing is, oh my God, I lost my job. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I'm never going to get a job. I'm such a disaster. What are my friends going to think? So you're really blowing everything out of proportion, when the only thing is you just lost a job, right? Does not mean your life is over. But if you have a cognitive distortion like catastrophizing, then you've blown it out of proportion completely. Another cognitive distortion is personalizing. So if, let's say, somebody makes a mistake, they blame themselves, like, why did I do that? I'm such an idiot. I'm such a loser for doing that. And then they're just constantly beating themselves up. And what that does is it makes you feel really bad. And what those feelings do is that it causes guilt and it causes shame. So cognitive distortions are a skewed way of perceiving the world, and then also like perceiving life, if you will. So that's basically why that's something that's worth being treated for, you know, because at the end of the day, it all really comes down to balance. There's 40 million people that struggle with mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, and, you know, I think there's 50 million people that struggle with addiction. But what all of those people have in common is that they believe that their life is over, which is not true. And that in itself is a cognitive distortion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So what can we do to cure it? Is there any solution for that?
Yeah, I mean, a big reason that people believe that their life is over is because they're not mindful of what the facts are. So it's really important to actually understand what the facts are. So especially right now when we're going through, you know, a revolution as well as a pandemic, it's easy for people to think, I lost my job, I'm never going to find another job, or I'm going to get sick, and when I get sick, I'm going to die. What's going to happen to my family? That's not happening right now. You know, all you can do really is focus on the next step. Sometimes what we have to remember is that, like, our mind is basically like, yes, it's our thoughts, but it's our vehicle. When you're driving your car and then you get a flat tire, you're not getting a flat tire. The car is getting a flat tire. Does that make sense? So when you're depressed or when you have anxiety, it's not the rest of your life. You can still manage it and overcome it, but it's not going to be the end of your life. Does that make sense? And that's the big thing when it comes to mental health, is that people think that, you know, all of these bad things are going to happen, and they can happen if that's what you believe is going to happen.
Okay, it really makes sense. Okay. So, just wait a second. Okay, so recently a Bollywood actor, Sushant Singh Rajput, committed suicide. Clinical depression being one of the major reasons for it. So if someone with a similar disorder, suicidal, what steps should they take at that point of time?
Yeah, so the very, very first thing that you have to remember when you are suicidal is that you are not alone. A lot of people who are experiencing suicidal thoughts feel like they're alone. You know, feel like they're alone. They feel like they are not accepted in life. They feel like they're not needed in life, which is a very, 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 severe form of cognitive distortion. So needless to say, you need to get professional help if you are experiencing suicidal thoughts. But the most important thing is that you're not actually alone in that. Millions of people experience that, but you're not. So once again, you're believing what your mind is telling you, that you're not worthy of being alive, that you're never going to have success in life, that you're always going to be alone. So I have personally lost friends to suicide, and I
Okay,
have thought highly of those friends, and I think they're amazing, but in their mind they thought the opposite, right? They thought that they're not worthy of being alive. So it's really important to know that those thoughts are not reality. Those thoughts that you have are not fact. You should only respond to the facts, right? The facts are
okay,
like, you're wearing a white shirt, I'm wearing a blue shirt. So ask yourself, is it really true that you have no purpose in life? Because sometimes you will believe that, yes, you don't have purpose in life, but you really need to write down like what your accomplishments are, how many people you make happy, what people love about you. Because at the end of the day, it's like, so many people admire things about you, but you may not admire things about yourself. So sometimes you have to see yourself from another person's perspective, specifically somebody that, admires you.
okay. That's a good answer, yeah.
Oh, thanks, Girish.
Okay, so just suppose, for example, if someone suicidal asks for help, how can one help them get rid of those thoughts?
So you can't necessarily help somebody get rid of those thoughts, but you can make somebody feel accepted and loved. A lot of my experience dealing with people who have, suicidal tendencies is you just need to listen to them. And sometimes they don't even want advice. Sometimes they just want to be heard, because they felt alone for such a long time that they just want somebody to listen to. When you're experiencing suicidal thoughts and tendencies, like, you are in a world of guilt and shame, and you don't feel like the world accepts you. So by listening to somebody, that can really go a long way. And then while you're listening to somebody, it's important to make them understand that they are loved in this world, that they are accepted in this world, because it's really hard for them to see that, and sometimes when you're talking to somebody who's going through that, they don't want help. And so it's important for the other person to just really be mindful that, you can get them help based off of like how much help they actually want. But the number one thing is for them to just be heard and to feel loved. You can't force somebody to not do that. And you don't want to scare them into doing it either,
Okay, okay. I loved this answer, yeah. It's
Yeah.
really
Well, you're a
amazing.
good interviewer, Girish. What can I say?